Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Dropping Down from the Rafters podcast here on Toned In Entertainment. Today we are back after a little bit of a hiatus, but it's all good because to kick things back off, Julie Cutler's back in the house. Julie, how you doing?
I'm back, Tony. Thank you so much, as always, for having me. I'm very excited. I feel like I say this on every single episode, but I'm very excited about today's guest because I think in the past, we've been really wanting to push to get more female talents on the show, and we found just the perfect person to join us today. Davienne, thank you so much for being here. You have been making a lot of noise in the New England pro wrestling scene for quite some time, and I know that you just recently relocated to Florida, greater Orlando area. But you've been really like a mainstay in the New England independent wrestling scene for quite some time. And so I know that this is kind of like the age-old question, but of course, we want to ask you about how you got started in wrestling, where you started training, what was kind of like your pathway into the business?
Yeah, I knew when I was 11 I wanted to wrestle. So my sister actually went to high school with Ken Doan, who was Kenny Dykstra in the Spirit Squad. And they did an article on him in the newspaper in like my local newspaper because we're from a tiny town. And it was like, oh, I went to the Chaotic Training Center, the Killer Kowalski School of Pro Wrestling. And so I just like saved that newspaper clipping and was like, oh, I'll just, go here. And that was essentially once I turned 18, it was handed down to CTC and then the New England Pro Wrestling Academy with Brian Fury. And so I graduated high school early. I was working full time. I bought a crappy car for cash. And then 3 days after I turned 18, I walked in with a full year's worth of tuition. And I was like, okay, here we go. And that's how it all started.
That's pretty amazing that you knew right away. I mean, I think a lot of people, they talk about like when they were children and they grew up with like this wrestling fandom. But I think a lot of people sometimes, like myself included, I was always interested in wrestling growing up, but like I never really knew how to get involved. Like I never really knew where to start. So that's amazing that you were able to like find that connection right away. Like you knew this is a school that I want to go to. And so when you got there, how is the experience, the training experience, and the people that you met and all of that along the way? How did that sort of compare in comparison to what you had envisioned in your mind going into it?
I envisioned that I would have to train for like a year or so, and then there was a point in time because I'm crazy like researcher. There was a point in time when FCW was first launched that you could go and like pay to try out for WWE. So I was like, oh, I'll just like train for a little bit and then I'll pay to do my tryout and then I'll get signed and then it's like, whatever, it's just easy. No, major wake up call of like what independent wrestling is. I had never seen a show. I just thought WWE was it. Like I had no clue what indie wrestling was. I went to the school on July 3rd. Because that was right after my birthday. So next to no one was there because everybody was off doing 4th of July activities. So it was like just me and, oh my God, I'm blanking on Max Bauer was his name. He was one of the trainers at the school. He eventually was signed to WWE and NXT as Mickey Keegan and then Axel Keegan. And they just stuck me in a ring with him, the beginner ring. And I just got beat up for like 3 hours and very bruised and broken. And then I was like, oh, what did I do? Like, I have been talking about this for like 7 years. Crap. I don't like it. Then after 2 days, I was like, oh God, like this is awful. Like I'm so beat up. Like I remember sitting in a cold bathtub with just like cereal because it was the only thing I could stomach. And then somebody made a bet of like when I was gonna quit, and I'm really stubborn, so I just never did. And here we are. Like, but I was the only girl at the school for probably like 6 to 7 years. Like, so it would be
Wow.
like on occasion someone would sign up, but then quit very quickly after. So I want to say it was myself and then Ava Everett was the gap of they actually made it 2 shows. And Ava started training, I believe, in 2018. So that was like 6 years of
Wow.
no women, um, and just training with the guys. So, and believe me, they treated me like
Oh yeah.
one of them. They had no problem, like, just beating me up. So
I was gonna
yeah.
say, even in your matches that you've had, like you get in there with the fellas as well too, and
Yes. Mhm.
you've taken some big blows in the ring as well too.
I have.
And so it's interesting you mentioned chaotic wrestling and you also mentioned New England Pro Wrestling Academy because there's some big names that we know have come from New England Pro Wrestling Academy and that we've seen come through chaotic wrestling. And some of them have actually come back later on. Like I know obviously Mercedes Monet is like a big name people always reference from NEPWA. I know Donovan Dijak, since he left WWE. He's been back in the New England area and he's been performing all around. Matt Taven, so many names. And so during the time that you spent there, were there any particularly notable people that you got to wrestle or like anybody that you would reference as being really like a game changer in your training and learning process?
I would say in like the very, very beginning, I did get the opportunity to spend some kind of like one-on-one time with Tommaso Ciampa. He was recovering from an injury when he was still with Ring of Honor. I was working very close to the school, so I'd get done work at 5 and then class wasn't until 6:30. So I would just pop over at like 5:15 and Fury would be there to open the door. So I would just get like, an hour of ring time with Tommaso, who's like unbelievably talented, and I feel like even my young self knew he was talented, but now if I like think about that, like wow, that's crazy. Ivar would train us every Thursday, and I had my very first class match with him, and it was probably like my best performance because he's just so incredible. Dijak's another one. Carmelo Hayes, Christian Casanova, so talented. Anthony Green, so talented. I feel bad if I'm leaving anybody out.
There's so many though. It's like it's kind
Yeah.
of hard because like the more you think about it, the more you're like, oh, there's a big list of people that have come
like
out of New England.
Flip Gordon, he was there. So yeah, the like a very, very extensive list of people who are essentially my coaches or my classmates. So yeah.
I want to get to 2 comments real quick. Morris Gregory, I'm sorry, he says he's a fan of yours. Awesome attitude in this
Thank
interview.
you.
Cherry Bomb says, first, I missed you, Julie. And then second, she wants to know what your favorite wrestling move is.
I would have to say probably the Boston Crab. That's my finisher. So I'll say that's my favorite.
Your signature move, as some might call it.
My signature move. Yeah.
I know you were part of Richard Holliday's show over the summer,
Yes.
Narcissistic Behavior. And for those who are following him on social media, he's very big on his signature move. So
Yes.
I think you should have your own signature move.
I was going to say there's a lot of things. Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would say probably my signature move is like the Davienne Your Life of like the drop kick into the post. So that would probably be like my Richard Holiday version of my signature move.
Ooh, I love the name too. That's so creative.
Oh, you can thank Anthony Green for that one.
I'm not surprised by that. Knowing how creative Anthony Green is, I am not surprised by that.
It's gross. It's so gross. Like, every single time he comes to me with an idea, I'm like, I hate you. Like, why does your brain work this way? But it did take him a few years of me doing that move and us like going through different iterations of like, how do we describe this? Like, I don't even know. And then for him to actually come up with that name. So, but he did. He came up with it.
I was gonna say there's definitely some things I really appreciate in your wrestling style. It's because I'm kind of an old school type of guy still, and I appreciate a powerhouse and I appreciate a submission specialist as well too, because I feel like a submission in today's age is a really dying art. You don't see it like you used to with the Ric Flairs and the Stings and the Lex Lugers that would work to get their opponent in the submission move because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like just the attention span of everybody, not just wrestling fans, but the world is so like hit me with this, hit me with that, and let's go. That they don't want to sit through even a minute submission.
Yeah.
Right. I do appreciate someone who has that old school type of feel with the Boston Crab.
Oh, thank you.
So once you sort of completed like your initial training and you're debuting on shows, obviously you started at a really young age. I know you mentioned you signed up pretty much right when you were 18. And something that I always find really interesting is sort of like the whole process of developing your wrestling character and sort of finding who you are. And that can be really hard, I think, when you're like between the ages of like 18 to 25, because it's like you're still so young, your brain's still developing, and you're still kind of finding yourself as a person. So what was that process sort of like for you? Did you have any ideas in mind going into it, like who you wanted to be as a performer?
This is something I still like struggle with to this day. Because I just was lacking so much confidence going into wrestling. And so I never could figure out like what I want to be. I knew what was on TV and tried to force myself into that box, but it was always just like very weird. Like it just nothing clicked really. I don't think it was until probably like 2019-ish, 2020-ish when I actually started doing a lot of intergender matches, and I was just like, I don't give a crap. I'm just gonna like go and do this, and this is what I do. To kind of emulate self-confidence of what my presentation is. And so but it's still something I struggle with. I've like I always just said fake it till you make it. So like it's like a light switch that goes on. I can be super calm and just whatever, blah, like having the worst day ever, like, but then the music hits and it's like a light switch and it's just like full time, like acting, like I just have to put on the show. But I definitely do still want to flush out like character development, especially where I'm at in my life and how I feel about myself. I want to be able to present myself in that way wrestling wise, which is something like honestly people haven't seen from me before because I've never had it. So yeah.
I want to ask you because like Julie and myself, we both play roles. We're not in-ring competitors, but Julie does ring announcing and backstage interviews. I'm a backstage interviewer, so for me, like when it's time to flip the switch and go on, it's definitely a rush of adrenaline for myself. And even when we end the night, there's a big, I don't know, fulfillment for me. Even though I don't step one foot in the ring usually, but I get, that sense of fulfillment. What does it feel for you? Like after, you've had that great match, you come through the curtain.
It's the only thing that keeps me taking bookings. Like, especially for doing it for so long, you get like the ebbs and flows and it was like, oh, that one like wasn't great. But then you get one that like sinks you back in the hole. Like I just wrestled Gabby Forza and I just loved the match so much. I haven't seen it yet, but just like the feeling that we had after, it was just like so good that I was like, damn, I have to keep wrestling.
There's some people too, like, you just have great chemistry with, or like everybody
Yes.
works a slightly different way depending on kind of like where they were trained and like what era they came up in and things like that. So, are there any other people? I know you threw out Gabby Forz's name. Are there any people that like you've just loved like over the past several years when you've been doing this, because you probably stepped in the ring with I don't even know how many people. Are there any like particular standouts that kind of left you with that feeling?
Yeah, I would say kind of the first one to give me that. I would say like early on, like Mistress Belmont and Alicia Edwards, and then when I really kind of started like push the envelope and challenge myself, Ava Everett was like my wrestling soulmate. Of just like two psycho minds just being like, and then she'd be like, well, let's do this, and then I would make it make sense for the match, and it was just like a beautiful disaster, every time we rushed. Like, we've even thrown out some crazy ideas that have never even come to fruition, like
But
a
they
3 stages
could.
of hell match, like, craziness. This is we can get too wild. But I would say, like, Aaron Rourke, I've had 2 matches against, and I would literally die to wrestle him again, as myself like, my level of athleticism and confidence now, because he's just he's so talented. Um, Gabby would be one of them. JD Drake, actually, I've only wrestled one time, but I love that match. I would wrestle him a million more times.
That was one of
And
the matches I was referring to when I said you've taken some big blows. Was that JD Drake match was no
yeah.
joke
Yeah, he's no
whatsoever.
joke at all. He's no joke at all. And then like AG is just so good.
So
So
good.
yeah, yeah.
I was saying, I've said on this program before, because we've actually interviewed him on here as well. And he's come up in a couple of conversations amongst others that we've interviewed. And I always say it's really interesting watching him work, because I've noticed that like when I'm on the same show as him and he's working backstage, whether he's just wrestling and kind of helping other people out or he's actually producing matches, he always is very tuned into like little nuances that make things feel more authentic. Like there was one show that I did where he arrived late for his match, and when he came out to the ring, he was like still putting on his wrist tape, and like he looked like he was kind of like rushing in, and it's like just those little things that kind of have you feeling like, oh, like what was this like how real is this, you know what I'm
Mhm,
saying? And he's
mhm.
he's very very good at picking up on little details like that.
He is. He is. He's ridiculous. Like, some of the things he thinks of, I'm like, okay, I never in a million years would have thought of that, but go off, dude. Like,
Yes.
he, I will say it like a million times over, he should be somewhere producing TV or producing talent, because he just like can look at someone and be like, if you did this and execute it this way, it would really like work for you. So I just think, yeah, he's a mastermind for sure.
One of the things you mentioned earlier, and it's just why pro wrestling is just such a unique and great thing, is you talked about want to have matches because you like beating the crap out of each other, and it's like wrestling is the only place I think in the world where people get excited again, like when they know that they're going to have a brawl with somebody, but the fact is they know they're going to have a great performance with it, but they know they're
Yeah.
coming back with some bumps and some bruises and some scratches, but it's just like it's just such a unique world, and I don't understand how people don't get it. Maybe that's just me, but like someone having a backstage role now, like I get to see like when guys and girls get paired up with somebody, they're like, oh yeah, I get to fight this one, and they come back at the end. It's just such a great place to be at.
Definitely. And definitely. And I feel like once people just kind of like let it go of it's a show and just enjoy it, like there's a piece that it's a variety show, right? Of like, I don't want to go to a wrestling show and every single match is the exact same thing. Like, throw in some comedy, throw in like a fight, throw in a technical match, and I'm entertained the whole time because all of it is different. And if somebody is just like, oh, like I'm not really into that, it's like it's fine. I don't eat every single flavor of ice cream. but I still enjoy ice cream.
Right.
So there's something there for everyone. I think you just kind of like, if you be like, oh no, and it's just like not for me. I don't get it. It's like, no, you actually just haven't seen what is for you. Because all of it can
Right.
just be fun. Just like let it go. Just have a good time.
Something that I always like to ask people when they come on the show, and I think that this will be an especially interesting question for you, especially now that you've relocated from New England down to Florida, and there's a whole nother world of independent wrestling down in Florida. I know we've talked a little bit about like people you stepped in the ring with that you've loved working with in the past. Is there anyone who's on your radar that maybe you haven't stepped toe to toe with yet that you'd like to use this opportunity to call out?
I'm trying to think. I mean, I know there are people like I want to have rematches with, like Kylie Alexa and Kenzie
Ooh.
Page. I think they're both phenomenal. I would love to have rematches with them. Um, I'm trying to think. Oh my gosh. Somebody just brought someone up to me the other day and now I'm blanking on them. Ah,
It might come back to you. It might come
yeah.
back to you.
Yeah,
But
There's
you
some
got
those
really
to,
are like my top two.
yeah, there's some like really great talent from like Nikki Blackheart down there and Ruthie
Oh my
yes.
gosh,
J.
yes,
That,
yes,
yeah,
Nikki
her. That's why I
Blackheart.
was like, I was thinking, I don't know why I was thinking another name, but I was like, I know the Blackheart, but I was
yeah,
like,
because I was just thinking the powerhouse is
yeah,
going, yeah, one on one.
yeah,
That's why I went there first. Yeah.
yeah.
That would be phenomenal. Also, Ruthie J, I know, was training with Gangrel recently. Um, there's another girl who's come up on the scene in CCW who I actually met when she came up to a show that I was doing in New Jersey. Her name is Kristen Blaze.
Okay.
I think she was formerly like a D1 track player, and now she's
Oh wow.
training with Gangrel as well. And she is like jacked. So it'd be really interesting to see the two jacked females
Yeah.
stepping toe to
Oh, I
toe.
also I think from Reality of Wrestling, Lady Bird Monroe.
Oh,
I think she's awesome too. I've been following her for a couple years. I would really like to wrestle her. Yeah. That was the name. I was like,
I feel like
why is this one escaping me?
there's so much talent in New England, and I feel like we've been really lucky to be based up in New England because I feel like there's just endless opportunity up here. But if there was anywhere else to go, like Florida is such a great place for wrestling. I know Tony's based in Atlanta with
It's
a lot of
crazy.
great
It's,
schools and
yeah,
opportunity
yeah,
there. And then I know you mentioned Reality of Wrestling
Yeah,
in
Texas is like a
Texas.
yeah.
really
Texas is
poppin'
strong.
scene. Yeah, Texas is really strong. Um for the independents. So I am excited to be like out of New England. I think it's hard of I started there and as a child, like
Yeah.
literally 3 days into adulthood, like legal adulthood. So everybody's known me the whole time growing up. So I feel like being able to kind of like relocate, like I'm a grown up now. So
Yeah.
it's just gonna kind of give like a different take of people who don't know me and haven't known me since I was like an infant. It feels like an infant.
I want to get to a couple comments real quick. Mosh Pit Messiah is a big fan of the New Japan Pro Wrestling shirt there, Julie. Just
Thank
FYI. Yeah.
you.
And then he says, I'm so glad Tony's okay after the attack, which is, of course, Brady Pierce putting his hands on me this past weekend. I wasn't very appreciative of
Oh.
that. Thank God Brady Booker was in the house to, help me out there. He says, what psychopath would enjoy every flavor of ice cream?
I haven't met anybody that does, but you never
just
know.
just like every style of wrestling, right? You don't like them all,
Yeah.
right?
I
Yeah.
mean, like I like a lot of them, don't get me
Me
wrong.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's one thing. But there's a couple that are a little questionable sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he says, Ruthie J is a silent goat of women wrestling in Florida. She is rocking it. I've seen many, many, many of her matches in Florida when I was down there in Miami, and yeah, she's a pinnacle down there. She is the 5-star athlete down in Florida and everywhere that she's traveling. That's for sure.
The other thing I was going to add, Davienne, I feel like you will fit in really well amongst this Florida scene of independent female wrestlers, because it seems like you're all jacked, like you're all body girls, which brings me to my
It's a
next
Florida
question.
thing, Julie.
Yeah, no, really. I mean, look at all, you're all body girls, which brings me to my next question and talking point, because I know we've seen on your social media that you just recently competed in a bodybuilding competition and you looked absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
And so I wanted to ask you about that a little bit, like how many competitions you've done, how you sort of got involved in that world, and then what the prep process was like, because we've had a couple other bodybuilders on the program before, and I know from training with one as well, like it is a very involved process that is not for the weak of heart.
Yeah, it is definitely not.
The eye roll said it all there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like wow, it was a lot. This was my first contest ever. So I started working with my coach just for lifestyle dieting about coming up on 2 years ago. And I just had never been happy with my appearance. And I actually got to a point where I like got bad blood test results, and I was like, oh, I'm like, I don't even dislike the way I look. I'm not healthy. So I have to fix something. And so I started working. I have tried everything under the sun, every fad diet, working with new dietitians, nutritionists, everyone. Um, my husband Gall was a personal trainer at the time, and another personal trainer on his team said, hey, I work with this guy who does bodybuilding coaching, and Gall wanted to do a bodybuilding show. And so he messaged our shared coach and was like, my wife wants to do lifestyle dieting, do you do those? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. So I started working with my coach's name is Mike, and I was on a wrestling hiatus and essentially just get in better shape to return back to wrestling. I think I wrestled for about 2 months before I tore my MCL in a match, and I was like, wow, okay, maybe wrestling is not my thing. So I started working with a physical therapist who was also on the bodybuilding team to repair my MCL, and they were like, do you ever want to do a show? And I was like, no, I can't do a show. And they're like, no, you could absolutely do a show. And I was like, really? I think I can do a show. So we started to prep for the wellness class, which is mostly based on like legs and glutes. And you have a very not well developed upper body, essentially. Like you're only judging your lower body. So we started with wellness, and then I would do like 2 upper body workouts a week. Not very intense. They were both push pull, not any like kind of super focused. And then it came time to me to like learn the poses for a September show, which I competed in. And my coach was like, where do these chest and shoulders and back come from? Your X frame is perfect. Your figure, you're not wellness. So I had to throw wellness out the window and prep for figure. And so my prep started in January of last year. Like after my knee was repaired, had to start cutting in January. And then in March, I started an intense carb cycle, which was 5 low days. I was consuming 1,094 calories and 220 grams of protein.
Oh,
And then
wow.
I would have one like medium carb day and one high carb day. That went on until August, and then in the beginning of August, I stopped carb cycling and I was doing about 1,200 calories a day, but then like my free meal or my cheat meal was removed. And then I was up to 90 minutes of cardio a day up until September 20th. So yeah, it got real crazy, real intense, no food, very hungry. But from when my real competition prep started in March to September, I went from 32% body fat to 16.9 and put on
Wow.
6.1 pounds of muscle. Um, and my like DEXA scan essentially went from having like a B score of my body to an A plus.
Wow.
So yeah, it wasn't a very intense prep. Um, Not to mention like wrestling, having a real job, and then moving to Florida in the middle. Like we moved to Florida September 6th and my competition was September 20th. So we started moving in and then I flew back for my peak week and then did the show and then drove back to Florida
Oh
post
my
show.
gosh.
So it was crazy. My coaches were like, please, for the love of God, never, ever, ever do this again for your next show. And they were like, we don't want to hear about anybody complaining about their prep because you're nuts. Like, I
Well,
was asked to stop wrestling like 8 weeks before. I didn't. I don't think I did like 3 weeks. And they were like, if you have bruises, we're going to kill you.
that's gotta be really tricky too, like being on such a low calorie diet at that point, and like probably I would assume like trying to eat as much stuff that's kind of like low calorie but high volume, so like it feels like you're full, and
Yeah,
then
no, there's no feeling like you're full.
and like
It's just a yes.
trying to wrestle that way. I mean, that's gotta
Yeah.
be really difficult energy wise too.
I consumed so much caffeine. So much caffeine. I would wake up in the morning and take a shot of L-carnitine, which is like an energy booster for specifically for people who are prepping, a coffee, energy drinks, caffeine pills just to get through my days. One day at Wrestling Open Rhode Island, so I work remotely, so I just take my computer with me whenever I need to go places or have to wrestle. We took Gall's car, so I didn't bring my wallet and have my license, and we were gonna go to a gym down there during a gap of like my lunch break. And I have to eat a very certain way on days that I'm training or resting. So I packed all of my food that I could eat in a training day. And I got to the gym and they're like, we need your license as a guest. And I was like, I don't have I have a photo of it. And they're like, no. And I cried in the gym.
I would cry too.
Cried because I was like, you guys don't get it. Like, I need to get my lift in. I won't be able to eat all of my meals that I have packed. I have to wrestle tonight. Like I have meetings to do. So I had a full blown meltdown in a gym in Rhode Island. And then called a whole bunch of other gyms to see if I could get in, and Planet Fitness let me in without an ID. So thank you, Planet Fitness.
God bless Planet Fitness.
But yeah, that's where like prep takes you, of like your emotions are just so shot because your energy levels are so low and you can't eat anything. So I was just like, the exhaustion is what I wasn't expecting. I was expecting to be hungry, but I was so tired. And then even wrestling, like I remember I had like a very short, like 5-minute match with Olivia at Wrestling Open. And like my chest was just so bruised and beat up because I'm so depleted. Like I was getting hit and I was like, wow, I'm so blown up because even though I do 90 minutes of cardio a day, I have no fuel to get through this. So yeah, I was just like, I had bruises all over my chest from just like normal strikes that would never have affected me before. But then because I was just like, I was so depleted, I was getting beat up really bad.
Before we started the show, like we were talking, and I told you, you have a very inspirational story because I've seen the pictures of where you were years ago to, the bodybuilding competition. So I have to, give you a lot of props for that because that's definitely not something that most people can't handle, right? It's just like the wear and tear. I think it's the mental thing almost maybe more than the physical thing. So I definitely want to give you a lot of props
Thank you.
Not only starting something like that, but also completing something like that. And it seems like people have told you kind of like with wrestling that, let's see how far until you quit. And I'm sure a lot of coaches probably have the same thing not necessarily you, but like with all other people that get into these bodybuilding competitions, like I'm sure there's plenty of dropout. I'm sure the dropout rate might be higher than the success rate, though. So much respect for completing this competition and doing it.
Thank you. Yeah. So we're preparing already for another one next fall.
Okay.
That was going to be my next question.
You really are crazy then, right?
Yeah. Being on stage was such a crazy adrenaline rush of it's like wrestling but also not like wrestling. It was so different of it's more uniform, right? Of like I have to be in a certain kind of suit. I have to do these poses. I have to have these shoes. I'm being judged on my nails and my makeup and my hair, where wrestling is a little bit more free expression. But it was still like such a different like rush of being up there and being like, oh, I'm standing next to 4 other girls that are jacked. I gotta outpose them. Like I have to just like own the stage. So yeah, that we're already doing another one.
One thing that I wanted to ask too is kind of sort of relating to the experience and also tying back to wrestling. You had mentioned your husband Gall, who's one of the WWE ID prospects, and I know he's gotten a lot of attention over the course of the past year, especially being under the WWE ID contract. And you had mentioned him as being also in the bodybuilding world. And so how is that like kind of having someone alongside you, having your life partner alongside you, also kind of like being able to motivate you and help like navigate that journey?
It's so much better of having a support system because like it's I have an Excel spreadsheet that controls my life, right? It's like not even a joke. I let 2 men, meaning about Corey and Mike, my coaches, and an Excel spreadsheet control what goes into my mouth, and like what I do for a workout for my every day of my life for the past 2 years. And it has made it much easier because of like as far as vices and like stress relief, I don't drink alcohol really. I don't smoke. So what I do is I have a bad day, I want a treat. Like I want a treat, okay? But to be able to have like your person be like, "Hey, it's not like Saturday night where we're going to go out to dinner. Maybe like let's do like a Ninja Creamy protein ice cream," or like just like making sure it fits your macros. It helps so much to have that support system. Like, hey, you want to meet your goals? Like, because I even do it for him. Of like, he's like, oh, I really want pizza, and I'm like, no, it's gonna be so much better tomorrow. Like when it's cheat meal. So we can both back each other up. Of like we both have the same goals and the same lifestyle. So it definitely helps because if he was chowing down 24/7, forget about it.
That would be
forget about it. I would have no willpower.
I think you're a much stronger person than I am, both physically and mentally. I'm just gonna say that right now.
But I feel like having that accountability person is so helpful. Like I've been I haven't done any bodybuilding competitions, but I did do a beauty pageant a couple of years ago, which was, we had like a bikini portion of the pageant. And so I worked with a trainer to feel like I was in good shape for that. It wasn't to the same sort of degree that you would do for bodybuilding, but we did like a little bit of a cut and certain, a certain schedule of workouts. But like it is so helpful just to have, at least I felt like for me it was helpful to have those accountability people in place so that if I missed something, they'd help me get back on track, or even just like going to the gym sometime, having someone be able to pick out things about your form and like tell you how to fix things and do things more effectively. It's so game changing.
It is. It absolutely is a game changer. Like I know every single Saturday I'm going to have to take pictures of myself and submit them to my coach, and of like, I just be honest of how I did for the week. And if I did bad, like he's going to be like, okay, we'll just do better next time.
Yeah.
Like we're people, it's okay. But just like, don't go crazy on cookies. Like, I don't like, better than that. It's not, getting us to our goals. But then, I mean, also like I still FaceTime workout like my PT guy. Because he's wrote me a new training program and he's like, all right, let's do FaceTime workouts, even though you're at a new gym. And like, thank God for technology because he fixes me and it's great because I haven't been able to ever achieve my fitness goals until these resources came into my life and I'm like, you will never leave me.
No, I was gonna say that it just it's so awesome. What would you say is maybe the biggest lesson that you've learned about yourself, you know, on these pro wrestling journey and on this fitness journey that maybe, you didn't think maybe that you could accomplish that maybe you have?
My biggest fear, I would say, was that I always felt like I would be chasing the happiness factor with my appearance, and I would say I'm so happy that I put in the work, number one, to not only improve myself aesthetically but also like from a health standpoint. And I got to the point where I keep telling my coaches I'm happy but I'm not satisfied yet. Like, we're always trying to improve on the figure because that's just the way bodybuilding is. Of There's always somebody out there who can potentially be better than you. So we're just, always have a goal in mind. But I'm finally happy. Like when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, okay. Like this, I look this way and this is cool. Like I know I can go out and go to Universal and have a burger and know it's not going to ruin my entire mental health. If the scale goes up a couple pounds, because I know now it's like, it's water, it's fine.
Mhm.
I know if I stay on track and I'm just consistent, so it's really like taught me a whole new relationship with food and exercise and just my own kind of self-love and self-confidence, which I never thought I would have ever.
That's
So
so
yeah.
amazing to hear, especially because I was gonna say, like, from watching you up here, you present as being extremely confident, and I know that even from, like, some of the younger women that you've worked with, some of the women that are a little bit newer, like, there are people that have referenced you as, like, kinda giving them a good pep talk and kinda, like, helping to bring those people up, so that's so awesome to hear. And I know that you've mentioned a couple of your goals, the bodybuilding competition next year, and we talked about some potential opponents in Florida. Now that you've relocated down there, are there any other maybe like fitness or wrestling related goals, or even just like bigger life goals in general that you have for these next several months, kind of planting
Yeah.
new roots?
Yeah. I definitely I keep saying this of I don't want to be behind my computer the rest of my life. Meaning like I'm grateful for my real job, but it's not what I want to do it. I want to be able to do something in fitness or wrestling industry. Um, whether that be like coaching or and just doing like kind of bodybuilding competitions on the side. I would love to probably commit like 2026 to being able to um train at a wrestling school in Florida consistently, and just get myself out there of having a consistent schedule again, because my schedule's just been very sporadic with competing and moving. So having a stacked schedule for 2026, and then also just kind of to be completely frank, my ultimate goal is to look like Jade Cargill. So
Oh my god, aren't don't we all want that?
so that's the end goal. Will we achieve that in 2026? We shall see, but we're
Yeah.
gonna try.
I mean, you set the standards very, very high right there with that one,
Who
but
doesn't
it's
wanna look
good,
like Jade Cargill?
right? But
Yeah.
you gotta set the bar high in order to, yeah.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, like my coach is like, yeah, your shoulders are already more developed. And I said, okay, cool. That's fine. I'll take it. I'll take it that the shoulder it's better. she has everything else, but we'll get there.
When you mentioned, schools and training down in Florida from a wrestling standpoint as well, I feel like that you have your pick of schools to kind
There's
of
a ton.
dabble in and get involved in as
Yeah,
well.
there's a ton. My top of the list of where Gal has been going is the foundation with A Steel.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very, very close to where we live. But I mean, there's also like 5 others that are very close to where we live. So definitely want to try a few to just kind of like make my connections and get my feet into the Florida scene here. But it was definitely kind of like a transition to, I was like, okay, we're gonna move in September, October. Like, let me wrap up 2025 and then go full speed ahead for 26.
Yeah, the great thing about a lot of those schools too is they always have like really interesting people dropping in. So it's like you learn a lot and then you probably also meet a lot of people, which is also just great in general being in a new place.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. There's always like, he's always coming home with like, oh, this person was here and this person was here. And, every little tidbit of knowledge that you can get is worth it. Just small conversations and a little nugget from everyone. You can take it and make it your own thing.
Yeah, and the great thing also about being where you're at is, that Central Florida area is there's a lot of female talent, but there's also plenty of places that do intergender as well, where some places don't do intergender. So you've got kind of like a nice like variety down, just like Florida is in general, a nice variety of everything. And that's how the kind of like the wrestling pool is too. It's like there's so many different types of wrestling down there that like you could just kind of should be able to transition to, very, very smoothly.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely excited about it.
And I'm thinking about people that I want to see you, David, intergender matches with, because it really is like a whole nother world down there. And there's so many good promotions. I mean, I've had the chance to work for CCW when I was down there, and then also Pro Wrestling Action, which is based in like Central Florida. And I feel like there's a lot of crossover between talents there as well, but there's some other really good promotions too, like I think BRCW sometimes they do some crossover with CCW. There's a couple of other Tony, you probably
there's Mayhem on Mills, there's the Establishment. You've definitely Pride of Wrestling over in Tampa. There's definitely plenty of places over there. Yeah, there's plenty of places.
Yeah.
I want to ask you like kind of like what your family and friends, maybe like, it's funny for me, like when I get comments on my Facebook, like from like high school friends, and like they kind of see what I'm doing, that like the craziness of like the world, like where I'm like in the ring with MJF now and interviewing Darby Allin, and they kind of know wrestling and they're like, what the heck's going on? Like what do your family and friends kind of think of, like either your pro wrestling journey, your fitness journey, or a little bit of both?
I mean, my family has always been so supportive of wrestling for me. And I just feel like it's so weaved into my life. I mean, like, it's who I married. It's all of my friends are wrestlers at this point. I don't even like, maybe my eyelash lady.
Julie, would that be your other friend as well too?
I'm a straight in person, and we're
like we chit chat, like we see each other at Target and we wave or something like that. But she's probably like the only like non-wrestling person in my life. Or like even my coworkers are like, what the heck? But again, working remote, it's not something that really like comes up. They don't see me on the daily, so they really only know when they Google me and have their side chats of what I'm doing. But yeah, well, a lot of people from like kind of my past, when I went on my fitness journey, were like, oh my God, like you look like that now. And I'm like, yeah, I do. And they're like, how did you do that? I'm like, you don't want to know.
Your photos, oh my gosh, looked phenomenal.
Thank you.
Phenomenal.
It was probably the best I've ever felt. Like on the day of the show, as tired and depleted as I was, it was like I was like, oh my God, I feel better than I do on my wedding day. Like I feel like a bride.
Aw.
So yeah, I was like, I want to do this all the time. Like all the attention was just on me. Make sure, like, are you getting pumped? Did you have the piece of candy? Did you take your pre-workout? You know, like every couple hours, to have a rice cake. Your muscles
Oh,
are
yeah.
looking flat. You know, like all the attention is just like on me. So
It's funny because even like I mentioned that I had done a pageant a couple of years ago, and I remember being there on orientation day, and I'm like, I've never seen so many rice cakes in my life.
Let's bring in the video for those that
Oh,
haven't seen here, because this is
wow.
just it's really, really incredible. Yeah.
You can see the confidence like just radiating from you. It's a whole energy of confidence.
It was actually really cool. So, with some of the classes, you get to pick your posing routine music. And then so I was one that I was able to.
So
And I was
cool.
just like, could I do something wrestling? Like, I don't want to do my theme songs, whatever. I just felt like cringy. But I was listening to like Randy Orton's original theme, and Randy is my favorite wrestler of all time. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna just do his, like, because you could pose to it. It was like slow enough, but like it picked up. So I picked the "Burn in My Light" theme to pose to.
So cool.
Yeah, yeah. And my coach is a huge wrestling fan too. So he was like, "Oh my God."
I was gonna say, I love that you made a wrestling connection there. And I was
Yes.
gonna ask also,
Like,
so
how
once
can you not?
how can
Like,
you
really,
not?
right?
Once the show was all said and done, did you have like a special meal or pastry or something in mind that you were like, I am gonna treat
What was that
myself?
cheat meal? What was that?
I
Yes.
really, really, really wanted Cape Cod salt and vinegar chips. I ate an entire bag. I'm not gonna lie, I did. Then I ate cinnamon roll Pop Tarts, and then I
All the
had
good stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had as like my main dinner cheat meal, a pizza that I split with gall, and I got like 3 pieces in, and I was cruising. I was like, "Oh, I can finish my half." And then I got to the crust of like the 3rd piece, and then I just like slammed it down. I was like, "I'm done." And he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was just like, it just like all the food just like hit me at once.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I don't stop, like I'm gonna be sick at this table right now. And I didn't want that. So
Right.
yeah, it was a Cape Cod chips, salt and vinegar, the Pop Tarts, and pizza. Yeah, that was yeah. And I mean, I had a breakfast the next morning, at In a Pickle in Waltham. Highly
Mm.
recommend. I had 2 eggs over easy, an English muffin, bacon, and cinnamon toast crunch waffle. So yeah, that was the next day. But yeah, I couldn't go super crazy like night of, because I almost got sick.
Right.
Well, that's a lot. Like when you
Yeah.
get used to eating such a small number of calories to then like introduce so much, I'm sure your stomach can only keep up
Yeah, it was
so
like,
much.
what is happening to me? So yeah.
Well, any future shows, bookings, anything cool that we should know about coming up here in the future?
Um, cool will be probably my bulking phase. Um, that is on the horizon. And yeah, I will be having going back up to New England for WFA in probably January. Um and then other than that, that's kind of all I have on the horizon right now, but some irons in the fire to get some stuff down south in the works. Yeah.
Well, we are so excited to see what you do as you turn over this new leaf in Florida. If I ever come back down to Florida, I'm hoping to get back down there sometime early 2026. So if I do, I will definitely let you know.
Please do. Please
Maybe we
do.
can connect next time I'm there.
Yes.
That would be amazing. One thing that we always like to wrap up the show with is we like to ask people, where can all of our viewers find you and keep up with you on social media?
Yes. I am on Instagram and Twitter at Davienne _ I am trash at my social media game, but it is a goal for I'm already scoping out my New Year's resolution. My New Year's
That's
resolution
good.
is to be better. It's been my New Year's resolution for like 5 years, and I've failed every year. But like, let's maybe turn over a new leaf this year.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
new location, new
Yeah.
area, new
Yeah.
people. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Exactly. So Instagram and Twitter is where I can be found.
Very cool. We'll keep up the great work. We do admire all the hard work that you put in, both in the wrestling ring and in the bodybuilding world as well too. Julie, what you got going on?
Okay, I have a couple of things on
Of
the
course you
schedule right
do. Why
now.
wouldn't you not?
So I have next week on Wednesday, let me double check the date really quickly, the 19th, I believe it is. I will be a guest actually on the All Access Entertainment podcast. I'll be sharing a little bit more about that on my social media, the timing and everything. On Saturday, the 22nd, I'm going to be ring announcing in Marlborough, Massachusetts at the Rebel Spirit Rumble, which is going to be our final show of the year and perhaps our biggest show of the year. And then the week following, I'm going to be flying down to North Carolina for WrestleCade. This is going to be my first ever sponsored WrestleCade appearance, which I'm super excited about. And so that's kind of what I have on the horizon for November. You've got some more irons in the fire over the course of these next several weeks, more things potentially on the way, but I will share those on my social media as soon as I can. My Instagram is at the Crown Jewels. Crown is with an E at the end. It's the Old English spelling. That's just how we roll here. So that's where you can find all the latest updates with me. And again, Davienne, thank you so much for coming on. I was so looking forward to chatting with you and definitely wishing you lots of luck in this new chapter in Florida. And we're really excited to see what you do and hopefully see some of those dream matches over the course of these next several months.
Thank you guys so much for chatting with me tonight. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And for us here on Tone In Entertainment, we've got more interviews still to drop from One Fall Wrestling and from Action Wrestling from this past weekend. And then next week, we got 2 One Fall shows on Monday and Thursday here in just outside of northern Atlanta-ish area. And then, of course, WrestleCade is coming up as well, too. And we'll be dropping some stuff really soon as to what we got going on. So definitely stay tuned for that. Well, ladies, thank you so much both for your time this evening. It was great having you both on here. Davienne, nothing but the best and lots of great stuff for you in the future. And Julie, thank you so much for coming on and being an awesome co-host as always. And guys, if you haven't already, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that red subscribe button so you can stay tuned in here to Toned In Entertainment for future videos.
Subscribe to the channel. Do it. Go now. Do it now.